What do we got here? Morning, folks. What up? Give me just 1 second here. I'm a little early. Ran out of PPP today. Morning, Bachu. What's up, buddy? Hey, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Dude, good morning. Let's get to work, man. We got things to do. Let's make sure everybody gets in okay. And then we shall do the Lord's work. Hey, and happy earnings season for everybody that's partaken. Arvin, what's up? Arvin, good job yesterday. 13%, if I recall correctly. Mr. Hall, what's going on? I like your list. PayPal's good. And, PFE, you could probably keep too. It might be a little bit slow. It's a little bit of a thicker stock. Hey, this mRNA is a little bit stuck in range. There's a difference between, hey, Samuel, how you doing? There's a difference between day trading and swing trading. Oftentimes when you're swing trading, it's good to anticipate things and kind of just use your stops. So you don't have to chase. When you're day trading, it's better to actually be chasing something post breakout because the ATR will expand. Does that make sense? Good. Microsoft, I think this one, I don't know if this is a bear flag or a rounding yet. It needs more time. You can keep. Apple, you can keep. Yeah, and Mara's back into just support here. It always kind of bounces off this area. So it's probably a nothing burger. PG, I would keep too. Good. This is a good list. I wouldn't short something necessarily that's breaking out of like a multi-year range. Arvin, what's going on? Hi, Bachu. What are you doing over there, buddy? Oh. You shout out if you need something, big guy. Hey, Simon, how you doing? Hey, good morning, everybody. I think everybody's in now. All right, cool. So look, we've got a flat open on the market once again. That's totally okay. This is the norm, right? We have the Fed tomorrow, and really till that comes about. And then we have, all these big tech earnings reports that are going to be coming out too. So you have the Fed on Wednesday. And then, you have Apple, and I believe that would be 2 days from now, right? Then you have Microsoft, which would be end of today. So you're going to have a lot clear direction of the avenues that the market needs to go. If you look at the current market, right? So if we're looking at the current market, like just as is. So the first thing we always want to do is, take a look at the QQQs. Right, a lot of people look at the SPY, but that's a misnomer because nobody trades SPY stocks for the most part, right? Unless you're trading bank stocks and oil stocks, there's not as much reason to really look at the SPY first. That's a secondary thing. So what do we see here on the QQQs? Well, there's a handful of things that we want to do, right? So first of all, your long-term trend is higher, right? So you get your 200-day moving average. And just the overall look, right? You're looking and saying okay, are we going up or down? So on a long-term basis, of course, right, we are in essentially in all aspects, right, a bull market. And we have been in for quite some time, right, since the beginning of 2003. Or I would say, after the first month, give or take. Intermediate term trends. Now, this is where things get dicey. So if you see on the intermediate term trend, right, so that's your 50-day moving average. You've kind of flattened out here a little bit. And so the intermediate term trend is actually flat. And so we don't have that wind at our back. So we have something going on there. And then we have our short-term trends, right? So you have your kind of right what's happening on a 9 and 20-day period. So on a short-term basis, we are actually right kind of in a downtrend. And I would say same thing, right? So we have essentially conflicting signals. We have conflicting signals and what I would consider cross currents in the market. The Goldilocks zone where like the easy money. So like if you're in the trading business, right, and this is a business, if you're in the trading business and your primary goal is to make money efficiently and easily, then you want to be focusing in on periods where your time frames are aligning. So what we would be doing is thinking, okay, when our long-term, intermediate, and short-term trends are all aligned, that's where we want to really push the gas. So that's like when, see, like we use this green shading between the 9 and 20 EMAs. When this is green, essentially it's telling you that the short-term trends and all the trends are lined up properly. So this zone right here, this is where you want to really focus in on being aggressive. This is the time where you would have swing trades, day trades. You can hold risk overnight. You're probably trading some small caps, news caps, all sorts of things will be in play. That's the place where you want to get aggressive, right? And so any of these phases here, you want to get aggressive. But now when you're in this kind of phase, you want to kind of tampen down expectations, right? Expectations is like the death knell of traders. If you have high expectations, but you're in the wrong period of the market, then you're not going to necessarily have the wind at your back to do some really good trading. So this is I would consider more of a flux zone. And so we do have to be a little bit careful of how we take our setups. And then of course, how we add risk. The worst thing you can do in this thing is like, risk 20% of your account or 10% of your account or, too much per trade when you don't really have that wind at your back. So just something to kind of keep mind of. Now, on the other side of things, you can see here the S&P 500 is holding at the 50-day moving average. So we do have a little bit of, support over there. I think that's important. And then on the other side of things, right, we have the 9 EMA still riding up on the IWM. And so this is really where the focus should be on. You have a rising 200-day moving average, a rising 50-day moving average, a rising 20-day moving average, and a rising 9 EMA. And so now this is the spot where you have the Goldilocks zone where everything is aligning properly. And so if you are looking and, if you're looking for some fun, this is where you want to have your fun probably versus, right, if you're looking at the QQQs, you're in a little bit more of a, right, you're in between. You're not at support. You're not at resistance. You're not at trend. And so you have a little bit of that going on. So you got to just be a little bit careful. Hi, Batu. Hold on 1 second, guys. Think he's like in the midst of waking up, but he's not there yet. Hi, Batu. I think we got a few minutes before we hear him, before we hear baby Canal howling. All right. Now, let's take a look and see what kind of earnings plays we have out here. And then, dude, we'll get the party going from there. So first of all, lost connection for a second. Oh, hold up. Batu. Hi, buddy. What? Hey, good morning. Aw. Hi. Look, it's okay. Shh. Oh. Hi. Good morning. Look at this guy. Hi. Oh. Look at this guy. You want to say hi to everybody? What? Look at this cutie pie. Look at this cutie pie. Omar bachchu. Omar bachchu. Omar bachchu. I know. I know. I know. Okay, don't squiggle too much, all right? All right. Boy, times have changed. Couple summers ago, I was in Europe looking for models all day. Not hot ones, that's for sure. Now, let's go in and look at some PRs here. So we've got ourselves IMNN. Hi, Bluetooth. So this is a small cap little bomber here. You got 40 million shares in volume. This is like the hot market for small caps. I can't trade them myself because they're all banned, but 'tis the season. If you notice, there's been a big theme on this thing going on for quite some time. And every day you're seeing some of these bad boys go. So if you like small caps, this is probably right up your alley. I'm loath to chase up something 2%, but I'm just too old, too fat, too hairy to even try it. What about you? Oh. What? What? ISPL and pump and dump. What? What? Whoa, Sprouts. Now this I can get behind. These guys are like the cooler Whole Foods. Let me go drop them off upstairs. Hold on one second. What? You want to do Superman? You want to do Superman? Is that what's going on? This is his position. If you put him into Superman, the crime, there's no crime. There's just Superman. All right, let me go drop him off to mom. Hold on, give me 30 seconds. Subatsu, oh, my big boy, my big muscle guy. Who's my big muscle guy? Whoa. Who's my big muscle guy? Sorry about that. I had to give mom a break today. She was on her last legs. Ooh, man, you know, there's something nice about Sprouts too. It's like they're like Whole Foods without being assholes. You ever notice that? Like, you know, you always feel dirty when you go to Whole Foods. Like you walk into Whole Foods, there's all this stuff. And you're like, wow, maybe it's healthy, so I can get any of it, right? Because it's Whole Foods and it's super expensive and they suck you in. Before you know, you spend like $500 and you feel real dirty about it. And there's something different about Sprouts. They do it, but you feel like, you know, you're just kind of going to like a little rustic bazaar and you're not getting jobbed, right, by the man. I'm into it. Let's add it. Pretty low float, $10 billion company, earnings gap up. That's the type of play we want to be in. Guts, nothing. Ooh. Look at this. Beyond. Now, this is not Beyond Meat. This is the old overstock.com. Look at this. Right, you got this breakout here. This thing used to be $110. I'm into that. This is the kind of earnings play we usually want to look at in this type of market, right? Where we got bottoming plays. What did we just talk about? How the IWM was going, right? So IWM means mid caps, semi small caps, right? Not like your low flow penny stocks, but right, these kind of names, right? Something like this. It's a real company, and you know, it's had Obviously, some troubles of recent, but we also know that this stock has a history of making moves, right? So if you see in the past, if we just look at its bigger picture, if we see in the past, like we just recently, right, in February of this year, went from 21 to 37. So, right, almost 100% gain. And if you see from here, went from 15 to 29, almost 100% gain, right? And then if you see last time it made a run over here at the end of 2023 in the summer, it went from 17 to 39, 100% move. So, what does this stock do? It typically, if it gets some type of steam, it makes about 100% move, give or take. And so that's the type of stuff that we want to be. That's the type of kind of name we want to be a part of. It's got earnings out too, so you have this kind of catalyst that's happening now. The big hairy, right, Indian butt of this one is going to be that. The big hairy Indian butt of this is going to be that it trades a little bit thin. We don't know exactly what type of volume is going to be in it. It usually will have it by the end of the day or midday, because you can see yesterday it did about 3.3. So, and that was not on a news day. So we can reasonably assume, right, that maybe you're going to have 5 or 6 today, which is just probably the amount of liquidity you need to be able to get in and out. So I'd add this. I think you got a nice base breakout that's kind of pushing through here, and tis the season, right? This is the type of name that and the kind of sector that we really want to be in. We're looking for the Turdy McGee's. We're looking for the Turdy McGee's. Let's add that. PayPal, old PayPal. So this one also, I think we can reasonably say is a potential opportunity for us. First of all, it's been in a big honking range. He's been a big honking range forever, right? So when you look at something like this, right, it's been just stuck here, and you can draw whatever lines you want, but it's been stuck in this kind of range forever. It's been beaten down. The other thing is, look, in this bull market, right, this big tech bull market, it's had no movement, right? It's been trailing. It's had no movement. It's really it's a big cap tech. First of all, $62 billion market cap at a depressed level, right? It's 5 times, it's down 75% from its high. So it used to be many, many multiples of this 62 billion. So it used to be maybe a 250, $300 billion company. At one point, PayPal was the biggest bank in the world in terms of market cap, right? When it was sitting at $300. So this thing is depressed now. And I think probably this is the type of move. This is the type of stock that we may want to take a look at too. Now, it's a billion share float. It's not going to move. It's not going to probably rip like 20% today or anything like that, right? Like the odds of that happening are pretty small. But there's a shot that, maybe we can get this thing up into some of this zone here by the end of the day. If it can stick its opening dip, and then, maybe over the next coming days here, if this move is real. Now, the big hairy Indian butt of this one is that the last time this stock had earnings out, it ended up just dumping off like intraday. So we do have to be kind of mindful of that too. So if you go back 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, somewhere in this last go around, so it'd be 4-30, give or take, it gapped up and it reversed literally that day, and then it kept going down. I believe it was this particular day here. So it did not hold its gap. Now, maybe it just was in no man's land. I don't know. It looked clean enough. So that is also something, that we should keep in the back of our heads, that it did have a gap up last earnings and it faded off, but it was running kind of into it, which can impact it slightly, but it also may have just not been the right time. So let's add this one with the caveat that it may not necessarily stick. It didn't stick last time. That doesn't mean it can't stick. It just means it didn't stick, right? So a little bit of a misnomer there. I don't know if misnomer is even the right term. Now, Let's go in and see what else we got going on. All Affirm got a big upgrade today. So first of all, it had an upgrade today. And when you have upgrades don't mean much sometimes. But if you get an upgrade from one of the bigger banks, if you get it from Bank of America, Citigroup, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, this kind of, thing, typically they mean something a little bit more. So this is probably, look, this chart stinks. If you were going to do a textbook, right? If you were going to do a textbook of ugly charts, this would be, this would be up there. Like, it's uglier than ugly. It's not even a butterface, right? It's just ugly. So that is, something that we have to keep in mind. The upgrade may mean something, but you don't have an uglier chart than this because it's not really in a downtrend. It's in a long downtrend, but a slow one. And intermediately, it's just chopping up and down. And on a short-term basis, there's nothing to. So you have a lot of cross currents that are just not really there. So we do have to be a little bit mindful that it's got the big upgrade, but the big hairy Indian butt is that, the chart itself is probably a poo-poo platter of despair. It just does not have, it just don't got it, right? So I'm going to add it, but I would give this a C- to B- type of setup. Does that make sense? Good. Hey, Mr. Patel, how you doing, sir? I will take a look at that in a hot second, brother. I will not forget you. Dude, bye. I will not forget you, my friend. Sava's a turd. Look, so this SQ's also been kind of, right, just doing the PayPal-y kind of thing. If it ever does break out of this, right, zone, then you have all this upside. But it's just not there yet. It's only popping right now because of the PayPal earnings. So something to kind of keep into the back of your head. Dun, 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 dun. Boom, 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 boom. All right, now let's see what we got here. Yeah, we'll take a look at some of these other earnings plays in a hot second. Give me a second to just flip through these bad boys. I got you, Mr. Patel. Ethereum's turd, Sound turd. Yeah, so usually when you look for pre-market gappers, right, or any type of news out, you want to 3% or more. Some people subscribe to 4%. I think 3% is a good spot. 2.5 if you're looking at like really large caps. But I usually just roll with 3% standard. And then we kind of go. Let's take a look here and see if we got any stocks that have earnings out today that might be worth a little goose and a gander. Let's tap this thing out over here. All right. I got a list of stocks here. They got earnings out today. So let's see if we got anything that's a little juicy goosey here. HWM. Now see this? First of all, these aerospace companies, defense companies have been going. All right. What was the one we were messing around with the other day? RTK, right? RTX, which actually still looks pretty good. Look at that bad boy. Look at that bad boy, right? So now this HWM, right? Similar type of chart here. Not a low float, but I would say it's just probably pretty medium. But you got a nice breakout here. Now, a lot of times when you see something like this, we look at these kind of names. We're like, it's a $30 billion company. What can it really do? Don't be too biased on those things. For example, right, like 3M had its earnings out the other day, and myself included, world-class idiot on these things too. I'm like, it's 3M. Like, how much can it go, right? And before you know it, like it dips down at the open at 112 and then shoots up to 128 by the end of the day and closes at 127. That's a pretty damn big range for also like a slow period of the market, right? Oftentimes we can look at something and just be like, it's a boring stock, but you never know how stocks will react on their earnings, right? There's things that are in there that are above and beyond our pay grade. So we got to look at the price action, not put too much, bias into it. So let's add this HWM, CVLT. This one always trades a little bit thin because its max volume is like 300,000. PayPal we talked about. Look at this Black & Decker. Now, I normally would not give a shit about Black & Decker, but we just talked about this 3M, right? Black & Decker, 3M. For me, it's the same shit, right? Black & Decker, what do they make? The vacuums? 3M, they make duct tape? Something along that end, right? For those, I'm thinking we can add this. You got a level right here. We got a level right here that I think is going to be important. It's 151 million share float, so it's not anything crazy. And you got a spot right here. Like if it gets over, maybe we got a little something, something. A little something, something. So let's put an alert out. Now, look, it's a little bit extended going into this, and I don't like that. When I have earnings stocks out, I like them to be kind of dead, right? And then they come out of nowhere. This has been running up for a few days, which kind of takes a little bit of the fun out of it. But let's see how it reacts around this 104. Does it hold? Does it not hold? We don't know, right? We do got to let it set up and see. But I think for now we can add that. Old zebra. Not enough volume. Building material, not enough volume. Good. All right, cool. Now, let's go back into our pre-market watch to see if there's any dogs of the day out here. Stocks that are getting smoked on earnings. You can see here this SYM. This was supposed to be an AI stock. Well, it was for like a period of a week. It trades super thin, huh? It's already done 500,000 shares in volume, so it can come in. Let's add that. LSCC, this is semiconductor company. A lot of semiconductor companies have been getting hit on earnings. This one's been a dog for quite some time. This is probably right up our alley too for a gap down short. So when you have a gap down short, what do you want to do? You got to wait for an ORB, or you got to wait for a quick pullback buy, right? A quick pullback short is, right, you gap down and then you're going to hit it into the EMAs when you get a red candle to hold. Do not take the trade until you see that. Otherwise, you're going to have a whole lot of pain. Invex, nasty little downgrade. Still stuck in range. Leave that alone. Good. And we'll kind of go back through some of these here. You can see here GLW also, right? You get shit on earnings. This one actually will do enough liquidity, 10, 12 million shares usually every day. Let's add that. And I think Procter & Gamble's got room down to even, you never know. Procter & Gamble's getting also dusted. Net sales decline, outlook issued. Let's take a look at both of these. And we'll come back to these. I'm making a preliminary list, and then we'll kind of look at this thing. Mark also, right? So you got a whole host of these. Non-GAAP sales, blah, blah, blah. You get room to maybe about the 200-day moving average, give or take. And you got this kind of big, long topping out pattern. This can work too. Let's add that. And then probably the one that we really want to, that's a little bit more up our alleys on this crowd, right? So crowd's getting also dusted on earnings, not earnings. They got sued by Delta to see potential damage from CrowdStrike over outage. Dude, my sister was stuck in the airport for like 2 days on this thing. Let's see what kind of action comes out of this. I'm not necessarily sure this gets sued by fucking Delta is the death blow of CrowdStrike or anything like that. But you never know, man. One person sues, then the next person sues, then the next person sues, then the next person sues, and before you know it, you're tied up into this thing, right? And then people start coming out with the PRs like, hey, we're not going to use these guys anymore, fuck them. And then somebody else says this and somebody else says this. And before you know it, right, it's just like a big cluster of people piling in. Let's add this. I'm interested to see how this thing reacts. And look, if it shakes off this news, today, then probably the bottom's in and it's been punished enough. So be mindful of that too. That's actually a possibility. If it shakes this off, say it goes red to green today, right? Say it goes red to green today and shakes this off. You may have even a chance where like that's just the bottom, And I'm not saying that's the case, but these are just, different possibilities that can always happen because it's already down, right? A significant amount. It's basically went from $100 billion company to 60. It's been punished. Oh. Good. Now, let's get into just kind of our regular watch list of things that I think could be a little something that we want to take a look at. All right. So first of all, I know, Parin, let me take a look at your Amazon here. So I think, you probably play this post earnings because right now, like you're just stuck inside this range and big cap tech has not been reacting well to its earnings, right? So you have all these big cap techs that have had earnings out, right? Netflix and you've had Google, right? So on and so forth, Tesla. None of them have reacted well yet, So we have some stocks that are doing okay on earnings, but it hasn't been these. And so I would never step in front of a company in front of earnings anyways, because it's just a big, right, gamble. But this is probably, you just wait post earnings. I think you'll be okay. You don't need to, you just have no need to step in front of it. Does that make sense? Now let's take a look at the other kind of large cap stocks just to see if there's anything worth it. Netflix is just grinding down, as you can see here. Tesla had a nice day yesterday on the upgrade. It's still holding up pretty well, and it's starting to fill some of this gap here. I think you got maybe room to about 240 before it, has to make a decision. You see Amazon just stuck inside a range. Apple has got earnings on a couple of days too. So like these will make decisions later, right? Like, you can see here, Microsoft's earnings are out after hours. So the decisions will be made on these posts. None of them look like anything, right? Like if anything, they don't look like bear flags. They don't look like bottomings. They don't have anything. It's sometimes a stock is just a no. Not every stock is a buy or a sell. Not every stock is a long or a short. There are times that a stock is just that, a stock. Hey, this is Microsoft. Here I am. And it's like, we always want what's happening next? There may not be a what's happening next. Like it may just be, this is what we got, right? Like this is what we got for now. And then over time, it'll start to morph into something, right? As you spend more time marinating. Like, for example, this Netflix doesn't look like a short necessarily, but it doesn't look like a long either, right? It's neither in a short-term basis, it's bearish. On an intermediate term basis, it's nothing. And on a long-term basis, it's up. So you have the holy trifecta of nothing. right? AMD now, this earnings is coming out today, but this is like kind of a little bit of a bear flag. But like, you really going to short it right before earnings? Probably not. And then you can see on Meta too, right? Just like a big, giant nothing. Right? Big, giant nothing. So what we want to do is focus in on these names, right? In the IWM, most likely, that or IWM sensitive names. I think that's where the plays are going to be, right? So, like for example, we have this Roblox. It's got earnings in 2 days, but like maybe this breaks the range, right? Like, so we want to be. I think we want to be a part of like some of these kind of names that just are going to have that little extra, right? That little extra juice. What do you guys got? Armando, what do you got, baby? And let me see. I know Birdman posted some nice stickers here too. Yes, home builders do got some interesting setups. They just need to pull back. So this KBH is fine, right? DHI, they all have the same look. Lenard, this is like, so if you're a swing trader, for example, right? Somebody who's holding stock for multiple days, this is the sector you want to be in. Like you wouldn't want to be in big tech, right? You would want to be in something where you're in the Goldilocks zone of, right, trending higher. So always kind of be mindful, like where you're looking. This home builders is looking really good. I think biotech is looking really good. I would keep 3 or 4 biotechs on your watch list. You can see here, we're kind of flagging out here, but this is, look at this. This is a longer term breakout. This is the best chart you can find. This is the best chart you can find. And if you don't want to sift through like a million biotech stocks, you can use this Labu, right? And this Labu is the 3X ETF for biotechs. And so, when this goes, and, when IBB goes and the rest of them goes, and you can play this one too. I think that's, the easiest way to get some type of exposure. I think VKTX just had its earnings out. This one's looking okay. So you had a pop on earnings, and now you're coming back in and retesting the kind of breakout spot. This is probably worth a watch too. Now, I don't like this exact kind of 2 topping tail little thingamajiggy. I don't know what they call those, but you do have something that's a little bit, you got to be mindful of over there. Serve. I did think we could probably get a short on this. This was $8. Now you've run to 24. You've already topped out in the pre-market. Let's see. I've been trying to stay away from these shorts a little bit because they always get me in trouble. Well, it's not that they get you in trouble. They take 2 or 3 tries to nail. You got to like kind of hit it, stop out quick, hit it, stop out quick before you get the big one. So it weighs on you a little bit. Like it takes a few tries. It takes a little bit more focus. For me, lately trend trades has been much easier, but these are the highest reward setups, right? Because if your 9 EMA is down here, then you have $10 of downside, right? And what's going to happen on Serve is when it gets dusted, it's just going to get dusted. It'll drop down 20, 30% in a day. And then the next day it'll drop down. In the next day it'll drop down 20, 30% more, and that's, and it'll do it for multiple days. And then it'll just kind of bleed out. So just something to kind of be mindful of. Now, going back to these IWM type stocks, right? Like you have some names like this RKT that I think could get picked up. I've been watching this flag on Docu, so I got a alert set if this comes back through. You got a baby flag over here that I think could do something. And then, right, Zoom has also got a little bit of a consolidation. So I want to be in these kind of names. I think that's where probably the hot spot's going to be. Yeah, Tesla looks okay. We can keep day trading this, but remember, it's going to turn into, once it kind of fills some of this gap, it could reverse down. I think this S, if crowd gets nasty today, let's watch this one for the flag breakout. It could get picked up. It's sitting right on the 9 EMA. And if it breaks about 23, 26, it should get a little bit of heat going. Good. Yes. So we do have, we got a virtual event. It's going to be Friday and Saturday. For those guys that are trading equities, for example, if you want to get a taste or learn how to do futures, we've got a futures trading room that's been crushing lately. If you want to learn how to trade futures, you want to learn how to trade options, we're going to have workshops on both of those. I'll be doing all sorts of stuff too. We've got trading psychologists. We got a performance coach. We've got all sorts of people coming in and doing some classes. It won't be like a fluffy thing, where people are just talking about their backgrounds. Those are the worst, right? Where it's like, hey, my name is Sam. I really struggled as a trader, and this is my life story. It's, we're going to get it'll be the boots and the coots on this bad boy. So you guys will have a lot of fun. I think we posted a link here somewhere in a little bit ago. Good. Hold on here. I'll find it. Motherfucker. Yeah, I know. Gringo, isn't it the worst when people do that? It's like, hey, we don't care. Give me the juice. I don't know if that's, oh, shit. I think that's the wrong fucking, oh, there it is. Whoop. Guys, I want you to be careful today. There's not that many hot setups, right? When there's not that many hot setups, you want to make sure that you kind of ease it off. I'd be focusing in on any stocks that have news out, PRs out, because when the large caps are dead like that, then you're going to have a snooze fest potentially in those, and you got to start moving around into some new names. And so pick these ones with the PRs, like this BYON. That could be something, right? Maybe it's not what we're used to trading, but that's okay. Right? SFM, we got HYM. Serve for a potential short. Let this thing blow out. What I'd love to see is this thing blow out even past 23. I think PayPal is something that's got some nice quesos to it too. Good. Yeah, I'd definitely add the PayPal. Let's add PayPal here. BYON. I think coin's just a remedy too. SWKS. Affirm. Shit chart, but right? Big upgrade. What can you do? We got the Merc Nation here. GLW. LSCC. Dude. Yeah, I think LSCC is probably clean, right? Look at this SYM. I think we can roll with that one too. Hell yeah. U.S. Treasury says start a new tariffs on Chinese goods will be delayed by at least 2 weeks. Baba had a nice day yesterday for a hot second, and we didn't do anything per usual. So something to kind of keep in the back of your head too. All right, folks, let's go do what we do, which is the do. All right, Discord. I'm making the Zoom link right now. Cool. Let's fucking shred, people. Guys, we got things to do. Remember what I said, take it easy on the big caps. Focus in on IWM. Focus in on things with PRs. Remember that the Fed is tomorrow too. So we're going to have really all